How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope that you guys are all having a spectacular day. If you guys would please give this video a thumbs up if you guys do really enjoy it. Subscribe, of course, if you guys haven't already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all. Make sure you guys hit that bell notification button, select all for all notifications, so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on the channel. I also want to let you guys know I am going to be making a Loki playlist, so if you guys didn't have a chance to watch my Season 1 review of Loki, you guys will be able to watch it, and I will leave a link to that at the end of this video so you guys can check it out in case you guys missed out on it. But I would also strongly recommend that you do watch Season 1, then watch my video, because I'm going to dive into spoilers when it comes to Loki Season 2 here. I am going to be doing a episodic score review, and then I will do a conglomerate review of the entire show at the end of this video. So, spoilers ahead, you've been warned. So, I mean, this video is going to come out like a week or so after the finale. So, if you haven't seen the show yet, then you're just not a diehard MCU fan. LOL. And I honestly don't think anyone cares, considering the numbers that the Marvel's movie has gotten when it comes to its income, to say the least. Now, to be honest with you guys, I never thought we were going to get a Season 2 of Loki. I never thought that at all. I thought that when Season 1 ended with that gigantic cliffhanger, the plot and the characters, they were going to either feed into another Marvel film or they were going to lead into like Avengers 5, Secret Wars or whatever. I mean, Season 1 came out in 2021. Think about that for a second. It's been 2 years since Season 1 ended. And when they announced Loki Season 2, I was actually excited. Loki Season 1 wasn't the best. I gave it an 8 out of 10 overall. It had a lot of problems, and there was like an episode or two that I think that was just kind of like filler that really didn't do anything. But when it comes to Season 2, there wasn't all that much of filler content except for I think, the first episode. The first episode kind of suffers from trying to catch you up on what happened in Season 1. It's like, hey, you remember all these characters? Hey, you remember all these plot lines? Hey, you remember all these cool little moments that happened 2 years ago? Remember, this happened 2 years ago? And it's like, just rewatch Season 1 before you watch Season 2. And that's what I had to do. And I would strongly recommend that. Because Season 2, it literally picks up moments where it picks up moments away from where Season 1 ended, with Kang entering the MCU, basically. Another big gripe I have, this is my biggest gripe with this entire season, there isn't much of a plot. Now you might be thinking, what? There is no plot, really, in this entire season. At least in Season 1, there felt like there was, no pun intended, a purpose. There was a purpose to Season 1 existing. It was introducing Kang the Conqueror, the multiversal war concept, time travel, multidimensional travel. It introduced a whole bunch of things to the MCU that we have never gotten before. And even things that we have gotten wasn't in great detail until Loki Season 1. Season 1 also, was continuing on the fact that Loki was still, quote-unquote, alive, and dealing with the TVA, and variants and all that stuff. And we had a plot, there was a natural progression of different... Sorry. There was a natural progression of different sets and locations and events and characters and whatnot in Season 1. Season 2 feels confined. We get a room full of desks with people that we don't even ever get to see and interact with a bunch of TV monitors. We get the war room. We get Ouroboros and his little funky Willy Wonka factory office gizmo area. We get the hot chocolate machine area. And then we get the gigantic laboratory room that has the kaleidoscope gizmo feeding tube thingy that creates branches or whatever. I don't know what that's called. I really don't remember. But that's it. There's no like hop skipping into like different little. I mean, there's like one or two, but it's like they're not memorable. There's not a lot of exploration in the MCU when it comes to this season. So anyway, back to the fact that there isn't a plot. This is a 6-episode season. The plot could have been done in an hour and a half. There is way too much screen time wasted on characters repeating the same thing. There's too much screen time wasted on characters just standing around staring at each other, spouting dialogue, or just staring at them doing this. And a lot of characters will do that for 40 minutes. I'm sorry, but that's not interesting, okay? It's just not. It's just not. Now, there are some cool time travel-like moments sprinkled throughout the season. Like, there's moments in there's moments in episode, 1 that makes no logical sense. And then when you get to, episode 4 and 5, it comes full circle. And you're like, so it was this person that did that. And this person that did this because of time travel. So there are some cool moments. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely some cool moments. They're just not a lot. And they're very far and in between. Now, the humor in this season, I think, works really well. Especially with the new character of Obi. I really enjoyed that. What else did I like? Now that I think about it, not much. Alright, I'm going to continue with my rant of negatives for the season. I don't understand why in this season they needed to make Judge Renslayer and Miss Minutes evil. They were never truly evil villains in season 1. Yeah, they had their own motivations that kind of conflicted with Loki and Morbius and all those. But in this season, it's like these two groups are constantly at war with each other, especially over Victor Timely for whatever reason. The problem I have with that plot line is they make Judge Renslayer and Miss Minutes evil for the sake of we need a villain, and because we killed off He Who Remains at the end of season 1, we don't have a villain, so they decided to make characters that weren't 100% evil from season 1 pure evil now, instead of coming up with some sort of evil actual new character that's a threat to everybody for everyone to have to face. The problem because of this is that Judge Renslayer and Miss Minutes, along with Loki and Morbius and etc., they all want the same thing. Both parties, both little groups, want to stop multiversal war from happening. They both want to save the TVA from being obliterated into nothingness. But why and how they're going to accomplish it differ. But they want the same end result, which makes them hating each other and going to war against each other feel completely unnecessary and stupid. Now, Judge Renslayer isn't truly evil, you find out. She's just being misguided by Miss Minutes. Miss Minutes is completely evil. She is villain of this season. I mean, she is truly evil. Especially in episode 4, her smile when these TVA soldiers and this TVA general get basically killed in a Galactus cube from Dungeons and Dragons. She is if you've seen episode 4, look at Miss Minutes and her smile. She is truly enjoying their torture and their slow death into nothingness of but goo and atoms. And it's just like, holy shit, this is dark. MCU can get dark, man. And the reason Miss Minutes is truly evil in this season is she's pissed off at He Who Remains by basically making her an AI with emotion. And because she has emotion, she eventually learns the emotion of love. She wants a physical body instead of just being some sort of floating clock. She wants a physical body. That way, He Who Remains can literally screw her. And she's pissed off that He Who Remains didn't do that. Alrighty then. Kind of a weird, like, backstory explanation as to why she's purely evil. She wants a body. But okay. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about the fact that female Loki Sylvie killed He Who Remains at the end of season 1. Now, I knew this was going to be a gigantic problem when season 2 launched. Okay, we all knew that when Sylvie, not Loki, when Sylvie killed He Who Remains at the end of season 1, I was like, okay, how are they going to rectify her actions? Well, they really don't. They don't even... Sylvie killing He Who Remains, if you guys remember, he said that if you kill me, an infinite amount of me is going to pop up, and it's going to lead to a multiversal warp thing. Well, that really doesn't technically happen. At least we don't get to see that here in the show. What ends up happening is Sylvie is never called out for causing problems. Because Sylvie killed He Who Remains, the TVA is under threat of being literally imploded. So it's having constant problems of power outages and stuff like that. And if the main group of like Loki and Sylvie and Morbius cannot figure out a way to save the TVA, it's going to literally just not exist anymore, and that would allow for there to be literally nothing inside of the universe at all. But nobody ever calls Sylvie out for the fact that she's the problem. She's the one that caused all this stuff. Nobody calls her out. Loki kind of tells her that it's her problem because he ends up figuring out how to basically have the Time Stone powers. So Loki ends up telling her that, kinda, and Loki either has to kill her or he has to reset the timeline. And I feel it's weird that He Who Remains always has to be at the end of time, no matter what, in order for the timelines to be saved. So Kang's always going to be there. Sylvie can never kill him. And because of these turns of events that happened in season 1, Loki is forced to literally sacrifice himself. Now, how it ends, I don't understand. I'm sure there's an explanation somewhere online that can explain it to me based on, Greek mythology, Morse... Is it Morse God? Morse God, Greek God, some sort of mythology. Tell me in the comments because I don't know. But I'm sure there's some sort of mythology that explains like what happens to Loki, because I don't understand it at all of what he was doing with the branches, and I don't understand what he was really doing creating this tree. All I know is that Loki sacrifices himself, goes into some sort of alternate dimension where he's bringing all the branch timelines with him. And he's using his magical powers to, like, mend them or make it where, he's weaving them so there's only one timeline instead of, like, a bazillion. And because of that, he's trapped there forever. And it kind of felt weird. But anyway, I think it's dumb that Sylvie never gets called out for her problems. She never really gets any... There's no consequences for her actions for killing He Who Remains at the end of season 1. Mainline Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, he's the one that literally has to sacrifice his entire life to prevent the universe from imploding, from the TVA imploding. Why was it that mainstream Loki had to do it? Why isn't that Sylvie couldn't be written to fix her own problems? Is Disney afraid for women having to take responsibility for their own screw-ups? It's clear to me that's what it was. And I don't want to hear you typing into the comment section, But because mainstream Loki sacrificed himself, it concludes a 14-year Loki character, and we don't get any more adventures with him, and his arc is finished, and not only is the Loki season 2 done, but the Loki show is done, and we're not going to get any more Loki. Let me tell you something for a fact. Okay? Loki's going to show up in the future. Tom Hiddleston, even though he's like 42, 43 years old now, he's going to show up, I bet you $1 million. He is going to show up somewhere down the line, either in a Phase 5 movie or Phase 6 movie. He's going to show up because he is now basically the person in charge of the entire timeline. He's going to show up because the Avengers are going to need him for some sort of gigantic galactical universal threat that only he can help give advice. He's going to be a cameo. Ain't going to do all that much. But he's going to be a cameo. He's going to be like, I don't know, Gandalf, where he's like spouting wisdom and like, hey, this is how you defeat this big bad guy. What, you guys didn't know that? Oh, wow. It's a good thing I was still here and you guys didn't, like, kill me off 5 years ago in my Loki show. I'm sorry, but Loki's going to show up again. I know it for a fact. Loki is a very pivotal character when it comes to the Marvel Comics, and he is literally the heartbeat of the MCU. I mean, now that Loki is over, what is there really to look forward to when it comes to a villain in the MCU? Because King the Conqueror is not it. I don't want to get into a lot of details in this video, but Jonathan Majors with his legal battles, I don't care about so much. My problem is how his character of King the Conqueror has been written. Has not really been all that interesting when it comes to him being in live action. Now, I've enjoyed his screen presence, being in He Who Remains for Loki Season 1 and 2, but his main line introduction in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was a gigantic... I'm sorry, but he gets defeated by ants. How am I supposed to take this guy seriously if he can get defeated by ants? Do you really think he's powerful enough to handle his own against the combined forces of the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men? Okay? Galactus would just King the Conqueror in 2 seconds. Okay? We need a threat. We need something or somebody that's actually going to be a gigantic threat for our group to fight. And I don't think King the Conqueror is it. Especially considering there's just an infinite amount of them. I mean, there's really no stakes in the game. And it is a problem. So, Loki Season 2, I'm going to give Episode 1 a 7 out of 10. Episode 2 an 8 out of 10. Episode 3 an 8 out of 10. Episode 4 a 9.5 out of 10. Episode 5 an 8 out of 10, and Episode 6 a 9 out of 10. So overall, I'm going to give Loki Season 2 on Disney Plus from 2023 an 8.5 out of 10. Slightly better than Season 1, but a lot of problems, unfortunately. Different problems, unfortunately, do exist in Season 2. It's not a bad watch. I would highly encourage you guys to binge watch it. That's what I did. I didn't watch it episodically every single week. It is a show that you just kind of binge watch in like 6 hours. And speaking of 6 hours, every single episode is almost like 45 minutes long, so praise to that as well. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to more coming out soon. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. I don't remember where my hat was. I can't believe this video was 19 minutes long. That is absurd. I haven't done one of these in forever. Bye.